Hey there, I'm Brad Talton, founder of Level 99 Games and the creator of the minigame library. Today I'm going to teach you to play Blades of Legend. Blades of Legend is a secret teams game for large groups, 6 to 11, that plays best with a higher number of players. It's a heavyweight game, takes a lot of thinking and a lot of strategy to master. So let's take a look. Blades of Legend is a secret teams game for 6 to 11 players. The more players you can get, the better. The game has two modes to play. For even numbers of players, you'll play the base game. If you have an odd number of players, you'll want to use the collector variant, which will be explained at the end. The first set of rules will apply just to the even teams games. Now, inside the box, you will find two master reference cards, and these have the dual reference on the back, one collector reference, which has a setup reference on the back, 26 blades. Each blade has a bound and liberated side. 12 seal cards. Each of these has a symbol in the center and a color. On the back, they have a seal break showing their symbol. There are also 12 crest cards. Each of these has a wielder reference on the back. There's also one collector card used in the collector variant. This is identical to the seal cards on this reverse, because the collector can masquerade as one of the wielders during the setup phase, or during the early turns of the game. Now, in the base game, we'll remove the collector card, and we will choose two players to be the masters. The rest of the players will be wielders, secretly aligned with each of the masters. You'll also need the acrylic crystals from the game box. These are called power. I suggest using the reds as 1s and the blacks as 3s, as needed. If the crystals run out, just use more tokens. They're considered infinite. So, we shuffle all the blades face with their bound sides up and set them in the stack in the center. The two masters will sit opposite each other. Take the seal cards. You can shuffle them or not. It's pretty irrelevant. And you put down a number of seals equal to the number of players in the game plus 2. So if we were playing, let us say the 8-player game, we would put down a total of 10 seals, dividing them evenly between the two masters, 5 on each side. So this is the setup for 8 players. Continuing with setup, we find the 5 crests that match each master's seals and set them face down in a stack. Shuffle them lightly, each pile together. Then we will deal 1 from each stack to each master. 1 and 1. The remaining seals will be shuffled together to form one more stack, and then distributed to the wielder players. These players will each have one of these crests, and they will each get a weapon from the top of the deck. Everybody's weapon begins unreadied, turned to its side like this. And we will give one of the masters power equal to the number of players in the game, so in this case 8. And the other one will receive 4. We'll also give each wielder 3 power to start with. Each wielder has a crest, and that crest matches one of the crests in front of a master. If this wielder has the green crest, that means he is on the team of this master. There are going to be 3 of these crests that are distributed among the wielders secretly. 3 teammates. The master is on this team. He has one of his own colors and one of the opposing master's colors. The colors that he holds are the master's weak spots. The colors that the wielders hold are their shields. Each master controls an array of seals. During the course of the game, these seals will be destroyed. There are 2 ways to win. The first is a destruction victory. destroying the two seals that are the master's weak points, one of which he knows, the other of which is known to his opponent. The remaining three seals are the shields of his wielders, and the players who hold these crests, the matching crests, are his teammates. If one of these seals becomes destroyed, then that wielder reveals his alignment, and his weapon liberates, giving him more power. A team also wins if all three of its wielders are liberated. The game proceeds in a series of turns moving clockwise, beginning with the wielder to the left of the master with more power. In this case, this player will go first. On a wielder's turn, he takes one power, adds it to his own pool. Then he takes another power and adds it to any one of the seals on the table except his own seal. In this case, this player is green. He's on the team of this master. He could place a point of power on one of his own master's seals in an attempt to liberate an ally, or place it on one of the opposing master's seals in an attempt to do damage to that master and destroy his weak points. So we'll go ahead and place a crystal. Then the player's turn begins proper, and he can choose one of the 5 actions to take. The first kind of action that you can take is called a draw. In this case, the player pulls power off of seals to add to his own pool. You can take one power from up to 3 different seals. So if we were in a situation like this, a draw action might be to go 1, 2, and 3. That power gets added to the player. Also, when he draws, he readies his weapon. This allows him to use a strike or wield power later on in the game. The second kind of action a player can take is a channel. In this case, he takes power from his own pool and places it onto the different seals. He can place one power onto any number of seals he wishes, excluding his own seal. So green here could, for example, go 1, 2, 3, 4, because he hasn't placed on his own seal. After a channel action, your weapon also becomes readied, allowing you to use the strike and wield actions in future turns. If a player's weapon is ready, he can use a strike action. In this case, he pays 3 power to the center of the table, to the pool, and then proceeds to choose one from his remaining supply and place it onto any target of his choice. Going clockwise around the table, each player can choose to follow the strike, taking one of their own power and placing it onto the same target, or to abstain. This includes masters, so masters can also play. Once each player has played or abstained onto the seal, the strike ends and the weapon unreadies. If a player's weapon is ready and he has power equal to or greater than the number in the top left, he's able to use his wield ability, which is detailed on the card. This particular weapon, Leveler, says take all power from the seal with the most power. You may choose, in case of a tie, place all this power on other seals, no more than 1 power to a single seal. So I could use this, pay 3, the seal with the most, all comes off, and then I can distribute it any way I wish, no more than 1 to a single seal. With wield powers, it's possible to place crystals onto your own seal. The only times that you cannot target your own seal are during a channel or a strike, and during your initial free 1 point of power at the beginning of each turn. The final kind of action a player can take is a duel. The duel is the most complex type of action and involves both masters and another wielder at the table. The wielder declares a duel against another wielder. In this case, we'll have Leveler declare a duel against Judge across the table. Each wielder takes all of their power into hand and secretly makes a bid, keeping the rest hidden. So both wielders will make a secret bid. Then both masters will also make a secret bid from their own reserves. At this point, the master whose turn is next in the turn order will choose one of the wielders to support. His opponent, the opposing master, automatically supports the other side in the duel. After this, all power is totaled up. In this case, Leveler and the left-hand master have pooled a total of 6 power together. Judge and the right-hand master have pooled together a total of 7, meaning they win the duel. In this case, Judge's weapon becomes ready, and Leveler becomes unready. The power of the losing party is discarded. The power of the winning party is rounded down, so in this case the 7 would become 6 to the nearest even number, divided in half, and then given to the losing master and losing wielder. Finally, the winning master chooses one of the 3 spoils to give to the winning wielder. So the winning master gives either a strike, spy, or wield ability to his winning wielder. A strike allows him to make a strike, just like the strike action, and this would cause his weapon to unready. A spy allows him and him alone to look at the seal of the losing wielder. And a wield allows him to use his weapon's ability without paying the top cost. Each wielder takes a turn in sequence. When the master's turn comes around, the master will have a pool of remaining power. This he must distribute to the wielders in any way he desires. So he could give it all to one, he could divide it as evenly as he likes, or any other combination. You can tell people what you expect them to do in exchange for power, but all promises in the game are non-binding. Try to give power to your teammates as best you can, and avoid giving it to your enemies. At the end of this turn, the master then draws power from the center equal to the number of players in the game. Since this is an 8-player game, we'll take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and place it into the master's pool. Then play continues around. We mentioned earlier that seals would be broken. Over the course of the game, power is going to be added onto seals by the different wielders, by the actions they take, and especially by strikes. At the moment a seal has 7 power on it, it flips over. The player who holds that particular crest, in this case the master, will reveal the seal and claim that power, adding it to his own pool. When a master seal is broken, the master is now endangered. Only one more seal has to be destroyed, his other vulnerable seal, in order to defeat him. If this seal is destroyed, the other vulnerable seal for this master, then he and his teammates will lose. While a master is endangered, however, he gets 1.5 times the normal amount of power. In an 8-player game, this would be 8 plus 4, 12 power each turn during his replenishing step. When a wielder seal has 7 or more power on it, it becomes destroyed. In this case, the seal is flipped over, and the player who possesses that crest reveals it. His weapon also flips and readies itself, and all the power that was on the seal goes to his pool. This player is now liberated, and the liberated weapons have more powerful effects. Also, at the end of each turn, a liberated wielder readies his weapon, even if he used a strike or wield action. This means that he's able to use his weapon power or to make strikes every single turn, if he has sufficient power. Being a secret roles game, there are a few concepts of etiquette to remember when playing Blades of Legend. Firstly, all information that is spoken aloud is public knowledge. There's no whispering to players, no passing notes. If you want to reveal something, you have to reveal it to everyone at once. Secondly, your crest is secret information, and it can't be revealed to another player except by in-game effects, such as spying or the powers of certain blades. You cannot show your crest to another player. In a game with an odd number of players, you'll want to use the collector to be your odd man out. To set up a collector game, first of all, we'll start with our 8-player setup, and we'll show how to convert to a 9-player setup with the collector. The same is true for a 10 or a 6-player setup as well. Just reduce the number of seals on the sides. So, 8-player setup, we set out the seals, shuffle the crests together for each master, deal crest as normal, and then at the point where we shuffle all the crests together to give to the wielders, we shuffle in the collector as well. The back of his card looks just like a wielder's crest. Then we deal these out. It doesn't really matter which side the odd man is on, so however you're seated works fine. And set up the game as usual. When distributing master power, count as though there were no collector in the game. So in a 9-player game, we would still distribute the power as though there were 8 players to masters, so 8 and 4. The collector looks just like a wielder normally and takes turns like a wielder, receiving power from masters, making actions, readying and unreadying his weapon. He does not have a seal that is out on the table, however. His own seal, or his crest, collector, tells him his role. At any time during the game, he can reveal this role. Doing so immediately liberates his weapon, gives him 7 power into his pool. Once the collector is revealed, his turns take a different structure. So on the collector's turn, the collector gains a weapon, adding it to his collection. He takes an action with each one of his weapons, and then he gains power equal to what a master would normally gain. In this case, the 9-player game, he would gain 8 power from the supply. The collector shares his power among all weapons, has 1 pool. His power won't be stolen by weapons such as Archeress or Black Widow that steal power from wielders or masters. The collector wins the game when more than half of the other players in the game are liberated. So, for example, if we have 6 wielders left, if any 4 wielders become liberated, the collector wins immediately, and both teams lose. So if a tie would occur, if the collector liberates the 3rd wielder on a team, this would normally cause that team to win a liberation victory. However, in this case, the collector wins the victory. Or, let's say, we had broken 1, 2, 3, 4. This would normally cause this team to win a liberation victory, but instead the collector would win because more than half of the wielders in the game have been liberated. Dueling with the collector works a little bit different than usual. If a player wants to duel with the collector, he chooses one of the collector's weapons, since each one of them is a separate wielder. That player makes a bid, the collector makes a bid, and then both masters also will make blind bids in their closed hands. In a duel with the collector always decides which master supports him. The other master will automatically support the other side. Powers are totaled and distributed as normal. When the collector wins a duel, he decides which of the 3 spoils he gets instead of the master. Also, if the collector loses a duel, the weapon that lost the duel is destroyed. If all the collector's weapons are destroyed, he loses the game, and the master who won the duel that defeated him wins the game. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video and learn to play Blades of Legend. I hope you enjoy the game, and happy gaming.